Hello and assalamu alaikum everyone. A very warm welcome to the Strategic Business Leader Webinar to Success for June 2022 exams. I am your tutor Kashif Kamran. Today is the fifth and the final day of this SBL Webinar to Success. Let's see what is the agenda. Now, the agenda of the fifth and the final day is to look at some reinforcement, which could be really important for all of you ahead of your exams coming next week. And more importantly, a holistic overview of SBL and some very, very important discussions, which at this point in time, when your exams are just a few days away, would really be beneficial. So we had practice the September-December 21 paper, the practice platform, the do's and don'ts of the practice platform, how to write an answer, how to sync an answer, professional marks, technical marks, marking schemes. Everything has gone in the previous 3 days or 4 days of this webinar, but this is an important day as everything gets a reinforcement at this point in time. So welcome to the day 5, the final day of this SBL webinar to success. Let's start the proceeding and let's see what we need to discuss today. Now, first of all, while I was analyzing the past papers from September 2018, where the SBL started with, and down to the last paper, which is available on the ACCA website and on the practice platform, which is a September-December 21 paper, which we did in the webinar as well. So from September 18 to December 21, when I was analyzing the past papers, I found that there are certain topics which are examined and examined more regularly than the other topics. And as a student, you should be familiar with what sort of topics have come in the past paper, and you should be taking this as a checklist, ensuring that you are sound on the topics which gets repetitive in SBL paper, or at least have a frequency of being tested more than any other topic in the SBL syllabus. So let's take a quick look at that list of important, not important topics, but more frequent topics, more frequently examined topics in the SBL paper since September 18 to December 21. You can look at that list in front of you. This is based upon the scan of the previous exam sittings. These are not important topics, right? Don't take them that way. Okay, that these are the topics which we expect coming next week in our exams. No, not at all. This is just a scan of the previous paper. And in that scan of the previous paper, this is the frequently asked topics. And again, if some topics are frequently asked, there is a chance, there is a probability that you might even find them in your exam paper as well, right? So let's take it that way. Let's look at the list on the left first. Key areas. Performance excellence has come, I think, once in past papers. Investment appraisal. Customer segmentation, we saw that coming in the December 21 paper in the webinar. Evaluating the strategies. I hope you know that SAF model, suitability, acceptability, and feasibility. Examiner might give you 2 strategic options, and you need to evaluate which of the strategic option is better for the company. So evaluating the strategy is another area which comes quite regular in the past paper. Then moving on, CBD, diversity. I even mentioned the article on the SBL website, which is about diversity. You should know diversity. You should know the benefits of diversity. You should know the importance of diversity to the boardroom, and so on and so forth. CBD, what are benefits of CBD to the board? What are importance of CBD to the board of directors? The continuing professional development. I hope you have an idea of that. Customer database management system has been in the past paper. Knowing about what is a customer database management system, what are benefits of a customer database management system, what sort of value can an organization get out of a customer database management system is like extremely important. Stakeholder assessment, knowing the from a case study, identifying the power and interest of a stakeholder, or from a case study, identifying what are the best ways to engage with a stakeholder. So first of all, identifying whether the stakeholder mentioned in the case is important. Is it a key player or is it a keep satisfied? What is the power? What is the interest? And then finding the best way to engage with them. The best way could be keep satisfied. The best way could be keep informed. So knowing about the Menlo metrics and linking that down to the case study. At times, the examiner has even asked for identifying the internal and external stakeholders of the company. That's pretty easier. So from a case study, identifying who are the internal stakeholders of the company and who are external stakeholders of the company. So stakeholder is an important, frequently asked topic in SPL. Project initiation document. That's extremely important. So knowing about PID, I hope you're all familiar with that. Project initiation document, and what are contents of the PID, what is in the PID, because you need to connect the PID with the case study. Not every attribute of PID will be available in the case study. Whichever attributes of PID is available, you will connect them with the case study. It's not necessarily producing a whole PID, which is useless. You will only utilize the PID, which is part and parcel of the case study. Yes, very good answer, Elana. So you will only connect the part of PID which is available in the case study, right? It's not like you put the whole PID. No, that's not the way. That's very common with the models as well, right? Suppose you get a question on pestle in the exam paper, but the entire pestle is not available. You only have information about political, or you only have information about social, or you only have information about legal. So you will only find from the case study political, economic, legal. So you are confining your pestle to just the three elements. So it's not about producing the whole pestle and then searching for information. It's about what information is given in the case study, and according to that, you will adapt the application of the model you are writing in the exam paper. And we'll come to the model discussion shortly, because model is a very major misconception among students ahead of their exams next week. So I'll be speaking more about models shortly. But project initiation document is another frequently asked area, and you should be having a good idea of that. Risk of that is such a big area, right? Risk, and that is such a frequently asked area. It's almost in every exam setting. You might find a rare miss that examiner is not asking you something about risk, but that's like a frequently asked area. Risk register, assessing the risk, uh, identifying the risk facing the company, assessing the risk, identifying the impact of the risk. Examiner asking you evaluate the risk given in the risk register. Your examiner asking you about risk management approach of the company. What is the risk management approach of the company? A lot of questions have come on risk, particularly the ways to mitigate risk, the TARA model, the transfer, acceptance, reduction, avoidance. Examiner normally asks you, what are strategies to mitigate risk? And you know there are 4 strategies to mitigate risk. Either you transfer, or you accept, or you reduce, or you avoid. And yes, very good. There's a 4 line of defense model as well, which I covered in my webinar, and it's on my YouTube channel as well, which was a syllabus change in September 21. The 4 line of defense, that is part of risk management. So if the examiner is asking you of a risk management system, then you can even relate that with the 4 line of defense model. An examiner might use this terminology somewhere in the future exam, 4 line of defense, and you should be familiar with that. So I hope you're all good enough on risk register, evaluating the risk, the strategies to mitigate risk, risk management approach of the company, identifying the risk from the case study, etc. Yes, there is no model on 4 line of defense, Wasim Mujtaba. 4 line of defense is a new syllabus edition since September 21 exam, but examining team has not yet written an article. And that was the reason I covered it on my YouTube channel a couple of months ago. And I did emphasize on that, or did reinforce that in my webinar, right? So I hope you all got to know about that video on my YouTube channel, which I reinforced in the previous days of the webinar. But again, there is no examining article yet on the topic 4 line of defense, but that's an addition you should all be knowing. I hope you're clear with that, Wasim Mushtaba. Okay, moving onwards. Internal controls, weaknesses, we've seen that even in the December 21 paper, a typical question asking you to identify the weaknesses, the implication of the weaknesses, and then giving up a recommendation. It's a very common area, and you will see this coming a lot of time in the past papers. Technology topics like cyber security, knowing about it, e-marketing, disruptive technologies, e-business, and big data. They have been in past papers. So knowing about what is e-marketing, what are benefits, what are value, what you do in e-marketing, what is cybersecurity, what are benefits, what are value of cybersecurity, what are challenges of cybersecurity, or disruptive technology, values, benefits, challenges, e-business, value, benefits, challenges, big data, value, benefit, challenges. So you should be familiar with this, right? Because it's extremely important that you know the value, you know the benefits, you know the challenges, because this has been common phenomena in the SBL paper. Examiner asking you what a benefit of this, what is value of this, what are challenges of this. So I think the best way at this point in time to know something, just like Elana is asking, because this is not a theoretical webinar, but Alana is asking, what does disruptive technology mean? So the easiest part is right after my webinar gets over, go to the Google, type disruptive technology and its benefits. And you get some links on Google. Just click the first one and just spend 10-15 minutes reading it out, and you will be having a very good mindset. Or just write on the Google, what is the meaning of disruptive technology? In 5 minutes, you will absorb that. And then write on the Google key benefits of disruptive technology and absorb them. So I think this is just like 10-15 minutes and you can absorb things up. In the time, in the era we are living in, I think a search on the Google and absorbing from the Google has become far better than books and articles. Now, even as a tutor, if I need to do some research for my lecture, it's better. Okay, let's go on Google, let's type something, get it out, and put it down on my pen and paper. I think in 10-15 minutes you can easily do that, and that's a good advice in this point in time when you are just a few days away from the exam. I hope you will benefit from that, Alana. Okay, moving further, there is another topic which comes quite regular, that is integrated reporting, and knowing about the benefit, knowing about the importance of integrated reporting to an organization, or knowing about the scope of integrated reporting, knowing about the 6 capitals of integrated reporting, and connecting the 6 capitals with the case study and the information in the case study. Macro environment analysis, PESTEL, has come so much time in the past paper. Examiner loved that topic. External environmental analysis or macro environmental analysis, which is primarily the PESTEL model. National environmental analysis, then the competitive advantage, the national competitive advantage. I hope you're familiar with that. The Porter Diamond. The Porter Diamond has come a couple of times in the past paper, right? So knowing about the Porter Diamond, national environmental analysis, the national advantage, that is very important. So PESTEL is also important. The Porter Diamond is also very important. So these are some key areas based upon the scan of the past paper. So you should be familiar with that. Again, there is an electricity breakdown. So I'll resume right after the electricity comes back. Goodbye. Okay, welcome back. Let's resume where we left due to the technical reasons. The session got disconnected. Now, just prior to that disconnection, we were discussing the key areas based upon a scan of the previous exam settings. Now, when I did this scanning from September 18 to December 21, right in front of your screen, we were discussing this. These are key areas. Now, you should ensure that you know each of these key areas and you know exactly how they have been examined in the past exam settings, because that will give you the right control you need ahead of your exams. So you should be very sure about stakeholders, risk, technology, integrated reporting, macro environment, the Porter Diamond, customer segmentations, investor appraisal, performance excellence, customer database, diversity, CBD, and again, the reinforcement of the articles, the 12 articles I did mention to all of you to read, because that's extremely important. Because if you are ignoring the articles, the 12 I did recommend it, it can be regretful. Because if something out of those articles or a topic out of those articles is examined in the upcoming exams, you might be regretting yourself. So instead of regretting yourself, it's better you spend time on reading those particular articles. That's extremely important. Now, one more thing. When you look at the topics which are examined on a regular basis in the past exam settings, and we were just discussing prior to that disconnection that a lot of time the examiner asks you benefits, importance, value, challenges. It's very important that, for example, integrated reporting, you know the benefits, you know the value, you know the challenges, or for the technologies like e-marketings, like big data, you know the benefits, the importance, the value, the challenges. Same goes with diversity. What are benefits of diversity? What are value of diversity to an organization? Again, that's covered in the article on diversity as well. Now, there are lots of topics in SBL and even in front of your screen currently, which requires you to know the benefits, the values, the challenges, because again, these are like favorite examinable areas of the SBL examining team. So if you have the right knowledge, as we were discussing on the previous days of the webinar, that if you know the benefits, you can then tailor them to the case study. If a question is asking you the benefits of integrated reporting and you know them, you can put them and then you can link them to the case study, rather than you write the benefit, what you have learned, and you just extract the rote learning on your answer on your word processing answer area. So it's extremely important that you know the benefits, you know the importance, you know the challenges, and then you relate them to the case study. Then you sync them with a case study, or then you ensure that you have absorbed the case study when you're writing the benefits or importance or challenges, etc. So these are core areas, these are repetitive areas, these are important areas, these are frequently examinable areas, and you should ensure that you know each one of them currently on your screen, because that would be extremely important. So just let's move on now. And in terms of moving on, benefits is the key area. Now, how many times have you seen benefits being examined in the past paper? I've seen them a lot of time, even in the September, December 21 paper. Benefit, value, importance, advantages. Now, you should be knowing them. There are so many areas where examiner can come down asking you what are benefits of this, or what are advantages of this, or what perhaps even asking you what are disadvantages. So there are so many knowledge areas in SBL which requires you to analyze the benefits. And if you do the scanning of the past papers from September 18 to December 21, you will find lots of time examiner asking you to write a benefit of something. So you should be knowing them. Just like in the December 21 paper, we found the value of a customer segmentation, or examiner asks you the benefits of integrated reporting. You should be knowing about them, or what are benefits of customer database, or what are benefits of e-marketing, or what are benefits of mobile technology. So something like that should be in your mind, because I believe benefits is an examinable area and is a frequently examinable area. So if you know benefits and you have penned down benefits, you have learned the benefits, that's good, because then you can relate them with the case study, because it's important that you know the benefits and then connecting them with the case study. I'll just come back to this shortly. Knowing the model isn't the best answer. Knowing the model isn't the best answer. And I'll just give you examples of that shortly, that a lot of time when the student read a requirement in the exam paper, he or she spend 5-10 minutes just thinking about which model to apply here, which model to apply here. They recall the BPB book, they recall the Kaplan book, they recall their class lectures, and they say, oh, which model, which model, which model, and they're wasting the time. Model isn't the best answer. At times the model is very explicit and you go with it, but at times the model isn't explicit, and even if you do an answer without a model, will be the best answer. Let me show you some examples of that. If I just take you to the past papers of SBL, I hope you can see them right on your screen, and I can share some examples with you randomly. So you just need to give me a few minutes to search for those examples, but just to tell you how things could have been. Okay, look at this. The question in front of your screen. Can you see this question in front of your screen? Highlight, the board of highlight. This is from the September. This is from the December 18 paper. Right? Can you see that? Please confirm if you are in the live session. Can you see the board of highlight currently on your screen, which is from the December 18 paper? Because we are just discussing that model isn't the best answer. So not necessarily you're wasting time searching for the model. If you know it and you can just pick it out in like a minute, that's fine. But if you're wasting time and searching, okay, what is the model here? And you spend 5-10 minutes on that, that's useless. Now, if you see right in front of your screen, the question from December 18, it says, the chief business analyst has asked you to prepare a briefing note for the finance director for consideration at the next board meeting, which discusses the key factors which enabled Highlight to be successful in the home country D-land. Now, one student immediately pick, because the examiner is asking for how was Highlight successful in the home country? And he picks, okay, the home country means the national environment. And he immediately links the national environment of the home country with Porter Diamond. And you believe that there is a national advantage of D-land, which is contributing to the success of Highlight. But another student cannot think about Porter Diamond. Rather, he goes to the case study, and from the case study, he identified the key factors which enabled Highlight to be successful. Because in the case study, there will be many factors given which has contributed to the success of Highlight. And this is a 16 marks question. So that student found like 8 factors which contributed to the success of Highlight. That's a valid answer. And another student relate this with the Porter Diamond, because he immediately clicked that because we're talking about a country, that means a national competitive advantage. Okay, that's Porter Diamond. Now, again, the student who is answering without Porter Diamond is also giving a valid answer, because you're focusing on the key factors and those key factors which are given in the case study. And the other student is linking that with the model. But that is the wording of the examiner, that model isn't the best answer. So you cannot just spend time forcefully, because there are so many questions where model cannot be applied and students still search for models. Now, the question in front of your screen can be done with model, can be done without model. But the students are obsessed, even searching for models in a question where model is irrelevant. So please come out of that psyche that you need to forcefully apply a model, or as if whatever the examiner is asking is linked with a model. Not necessarily. Let me give you some more examples here. I need to discuss something very important with you shortly, and that's extremely important, because there are a lot of time the students go searching with models, and models may not be the best answer. Okay, just let me show you a question. I'm just missing on it, where I can just relate that again, that model isn't the best answer. Okay, fine. Look at this question in front of you. This is from the September. This is from the December 20, right? And from December 20, examiner is asking you prepare a report for the CFO, which evaluates the extent of the external environment. Now, that's quite picking for every student. That external environment is basically the macro environment, and the external environment is basically the pestle. So examiner is asking something about external environment and its impact on the company. So you are very clear here that yes, external environment, that's a picking word, and you go down with it. Key factors which enabled a company to be successful in the home country. Picking the Porter Diamond for some students will be easier, for some it will not be. But even in this question, probably because students are well prepared on external environment area, and they pick up, okay, the external environment is the pestle. So in the case study, we need to evaluate the pestle and its impact on the business objectives. I think that's quite picking up that the model will be applied here. Okay. Fine, just let me search if there is another example. Where we can relate things with. Because sometimes you find a keyword and you click, okay, this is the model we are applying here, but sometimes doing that is like extremely difficult. Look at this question in front of you. This is from the December 19 paper. And in this December 19 paper, okay, Wasi, that's quite a long question to read in the live session. It's like a story. So if you can just WhatsApp me to my private number, and I can be replying back after I end the live webinar, right? Thank you so much. Now, when you look at a question like such on screen, which is from the December 19 paper, the question number 1, which asks you, the sales director has asked you to provide a set of notes to accompany the presentation. So you need to develop the notes to accompany the presentation he has prepared for the board, which discusses how the sales development strategy he has proposed will assist the company in achieving aims. Now, in the case study, the sales director has proposed some sales development strategies, and you need to evaluate those sales development strategies given by the sales director, and how will they assist in achieving a strategic aim. Now, again, if you start thinking about a model here, you might come down to a model. But again, right in this question, even if you think about, okay, I'll go to the sales strategy given by the director, I just evaluate the sales strategies. I'll just discuss what is good in that strategy and what is bad in that strategy, and how they are helping the company in achieving the aims, which must be given in the case study, the aims of the company, and you're writing an answer. So the strategies are given. You need to evaluate the strategies, and you need to think how the strategy is contributing to the achieving of the aims. So you are critical in discussing how the strategies proposed by the sales director is converting to the strategic aims of the company. Again, a lot of time the students spend thinking about a model when you can write a journal answer, linking that to the case study and getting out of it. So I hope you start taking this in control, that knowing the model isn't the best answer. Or a lot of times the student just forcefully try to connect a model when model is not applicable and model is not relevant. And at times you even apply a wrong model. So if you are very sure and like instantly or spontaneously, when you're reading a question, a model strikes your mind and you think, oh, this is the model because I can pick up the keyword here, then go with it. But if you are not, then don't waste time. Just try to produce an answer by looking at the requirement, understanding the requirement, and connecting that with the case study. I hope you are fine with this understanding here. Now, something which is extremely important. While I was looking at some important areas which have come in the past paper, I normally get this feedback from students in every exam sitting. And when I even evaluate the paper myself, when it's available on the ACCA website, I do agree with that student comment that a lot of time, the SBL paper is very generic, or in the SBL paper, you don't see the topics which you have prepared. Now, you spend a lot of time preparing topics like governance and risk and internal controls and technology and financial performance, etc., or strategy. But when you get to the actual paper, or when you look at the actual paper and you look at the 100 marks requirement, you might not find something you've prepared. And this happens quite common in the SPL paper. You might not find e-marketing, you might not find risk, you might not find strategies, you might not find Porter Diamond, you might not find the pestle, you might not find something integrated reporting or something like stakeholder, something like Menlo, etc. And you say, oh, what's the sense of preparing them when they're not coming to the exam paper? And this happens a lot of time in exam paper. And there are so many questions in an SBL exam paper, in every exam setting, which relates with common sense, Just let me give you an examples of that. We were doing the September-December 21 paper, right? In the previous days. And we did the task 4 from the September-December 21 paper, which was asking us to evaluate the implication of the weaknesses identified and give a recommendation. Now tell me, what sort of preparation you need for this topic? What sort of preparation you need for a topic like internal control weaknesses? Alana is already on the track. What sort of preparation you need for a topic internal control weaknesses? Nothing, zero preparation. Because you go to the exam hall, the question will give you the weaknesses. You need to read the weaknesses and you need to think, okay, what's the implication of it and what's the recommendation? Can you go prepared for a topic like internal control weaknesses? Can you rote learn weaknesses? No, not at all. You don't need any preparation for that. Just let me give you some more examples apart from the September-December 21 paper. Okay, let's go back to the PDF file. I hope you can all see that in front of your screen. Look at this question in front of your screen from September-December 19 paper. I hope you can see that in front of your screen. The September-December 19 exam paper, the question number 1B in front of your screen. Prepare a report for the finance director which evaluates the financial and non-financial implication of Dulce prioritizing one order over the other. Now, obviously in the case study, there must be something about one order over the other. And what is the financial implication of that? And what is the non-financial implication of that, of Dulce prioritizing one order over the other? Now, is that a case-specific situation? You will read the case and you will understand the Dulce position of prioritizing one order over the other. And you need to speak of its financial implication and non-financial implication. Now, can you be prepared on it? Can the BPP and Kaplan book or a class lecture or reading an article help you here? No, because you need to look at the situation of Dulce. You need to look at the Dulce prioritizing one order over the other from a case study. And you need to speak of its financial implication, monetary implication, and the non-monetary implications. You cannot do anything here, right? You cannot do anything here in terms of learning. I hope you agree with me. Go down. Look at this question. Sometimes you pick the topic. Analyze the risk identified in the risk register. So the risks are already given. You just need to analyze them and what impact the risk will have on the company. Recommend a mitigating activity. Now, you know the mitigating activities are transfer, acceptance, reduction, avoidance, but you need to link them with a case study, right? So at least in this question, you can pick, okay, the examiner is asking the application of the TARA model, or the examiner is asking us to analyze the risk in terms of the likelihood and impact. So at least the topic is pickable here, right? But sometimes like financial and non-financial implications of one order over the other, can you pick from which topic it is from? No, it's just like a journal answer. Okay, then let me show you something more. which is a very good question, which came somewhere in the past paper. I just need to pick that up to show you that you. Okay, look at this question in front of your screen. This is from the June 19 exams, the March-June 19 exam. I hope you can see that in front of your screen. Question number 2. Question number 2B. Question number 2B of the March-June 19 exam. I hope you can see that. I'm just reading the question. It says, evaluate the strategic and the ethical implication. Strategic means something which relates with your future, something which relates with your profitability, something which relates with your market share, something which relates with your reputation. Strategic, right? Strategic. Evaluate the strategic and ethical implications to smartware of the planned shop closure in Nooria and withdrawal from Centrum. So the business is closing shops in Nooria, a place, and they're withdrawing from another place, Centrum. So that's like a strategy of the business that they want to close some shops in Nooria and they want to exit from Centrum. Now, you need to think about what are implications of closure in Nooria and what are implications of withdrawal from Centrum. Is that like a case study situation? In the case, they might be telling you why are they closing in Nooria or why are they withdrawing from Centrum? They must have given their justification. Now, you need to think about the decision has been taken. The decision has been taken, right? Now, what is the implication of this decision on your strategic objectives, on your future, on the future of smartware? How will this affect the future of smartware, positively or negatively? And what are ethical implications? Again, can I be prepared about ethical implications? Because if there is an ethical implication of the closure, it must be given in the case study, right? It must be given in the case study, exactly, like loss of jobs. But again, can I be prepared with ethical implications from BPP and Kaplan? No. I need to think in the exam context there and then. And the student perspective that the SBL paper at times or most of the time is very journal, and whatever we have learned never comes in the exam paper is quite true, is rather absolutely true, because even when I analyze the paper, I believe, okay, what's the sense of preparing? Because everything is so natural in the exam paper and it relates to the case study. Do you agree with my point of view here? Right? So look at this question in front of you. Does this question require any preparation? Tell me. The question right in front of you from the June 19 paper, question number 2B, does it require any preparation? All of you? Because only few students are responding, right? I need answers from all of you. Does it require any preparation? Or is it like going into the case and finding the answer? So there are a lot of time a question comes in exam paper which doesn't require the preparation. Look at this question here. Draft a memo to the buying and merchandising director, which evaluates the effectiveness of internal control and recommend improvements to internal control. You cannot be prepared for questions on internal controls, right? You can never be prepared on questions on internal control because the weaknesses will be in the case and the recommendations has to come out of your own judgments. Okay, last thing. Look at this. Describe the benefit of introducing a customer database management system. Now that's a topic. Customer database management system, and from the BPP book, Kaplan book, or from the articles or from the lectures, you know the terminology customer database. Now, the question is asking you what are benefits. Now, this is a question which I always tell my students that you should know the benefits in SBL paper from your learning, from your knowledge. And then you relate those benefits of the customer database management system to the organization smartware. Now, this is extremely important. Just give me 1 second if I can comment on this in a more effective manner. Right here, the benefits, right? You should know the benefits. Like, again, we have been discussing that multiple times in the session today, that you should know benefits of so many topics in SBL. But if you know the benefit, you have knowledge K, you have knowledge of the benefits, you will relate that with the organization. You will relate that with smartware, right? 6 marks, so just 3 benefits, but relating them to the case study. So if you learn the benefits of so many topics, can that be beneficial? But at least when you look at the customer database here, customer database is a proper topic. And if you know the topic, you can survive in the 6 marks question. NPV analysis. Again, you look at the term and you pick, oh, this is the topic. But tell me, strategic and ethical implication, what topic? Financial and non-financial implication, what topic? So at times you find 50%, 60% of the SBL paper where judging a topic, clicking a topic, relating it with a model is useless. Agree, disagree? All of you. I need answers from all of you because some are silent participants. If you're a silent participant, then what's the sense of taking a live webinar? I hope you agree. At times, 50 to 60% of the paper, and at times even more than that, is journal. You cannot relate this with it. You cannot relate that with the topic. But what is the concluding point here, all of you? The success in SBL lies in reading, understanding the case study, and extracting an answer out of it. I hope you agree with that statement as well. The success in SBL lies in reading the case study, extracting the answer from the case study, and getting success. You cannot go to SBL exam paper assuring yourself that whatever I have learned will come in the paper. No, never. You will get journal things. Strategic business leader is all here in the mind. You need to take judgments. You need to exercise judgments right in the context of the exam paper, and questions can be journal questions. You cannot say, oh, this has come from syllabus area C. This has come from syllabus area B. This has come from syllabus area F. No, not at all. I hope you're sound and clear on this. Just one last example and moving out of it. I think there was a question I'm just missing on that, which was a very good question. And yes, I found it. This is from the March 20 paper. Can you see this paper? Can you see this question number 3 in front of you? Question number 3 from the March 20 paper. Can this be seen at your side? Okay, great. Now listen to me carefully. You go to the exam hall, right? And you get a question as big as 10 marks here. And another 10 marks here, right? And you have 3 professional marks. So that's like a 23 marks question. And just look at it, that you will be amazed that this 23% of the paper, just one question in front of you, doesn't relate to the topic, it relates to the case study. Just let me read it out for you. I'm reading the opening paragraph. The chief executive officer believes that TT for you, which is a company, current structure will have to change if TT for you is to introduce the new MIO-bed approach to client relationship successfully. Now, if they need to introduce a new approach, will this approach be given in the case study? Will the examiner be explaining to you this approach, that if TT for you is to introduce a new MIO-bed approach to client relationship, right? So this approach, what that approach is, we don't know. At least I don't know. But when I read the case, I'll come across to know, okay, this is the approach to the client relationship. The chief executive officer knows that she must take ownership of this transformation. She feels, however, that she needs guidance on the transformation process and how she would lead the process, including communicating the need for change. Yes, we know change is a topic in SBL, and we know whenever the organization is in the transformation process, there will be challenges, there will be obstacles. Some employees will not like the change, some will like the change. So guiding the employees, facilitating the employees, ensuring that every employee likes the change, you sell the change. And there are so many ways to sell the change, right? I hope you know this topic, right? Change management, bringing the change in the organization. But do we know about the new MyoBed approach which the company is introducing, and then again linking that with the change management? Do we know about the MyoBed approach from any syllabus area? No. So will that be in the case study? Now let's look at the requirement. Prepare an email. So you have to prepare an email. You can check the format of the email from the examiner answer. Prepare an email for the Chief Executive Officer, which advises her on the responsibilities and activities involved in preparing and implementing the transformation of T4U effectively. So you need to write an email to the Chief Executive Officer, and in that email, you need to advise her on the responsibilities and on the activities involved in preparing for and implementing the transformation. Now, when you need to bring a change in the organization, what are responsibilities of a Chief Executive Officer in ensuring that the transformation is smooth? And what sort of activities will be involved in implementing transformation? Already some student give me the answer, right? That training, education, informing the employees, having a brainstorming with employees. You need to sell as a Chief Executive Officer. You need to sell the change, or you need to sell the transformation to the employees. So what are the responsibilities of the Chief Executive Officer for a successful transformation? Number one. And what are activities involved in successful transformation? Can you relate this with the topic you have in the syllabus, change management? How to bring change? What are activities involved in change management? Can the part A relatable to some sort of a case study, some sort of a knowledge topic? Agree or disagree, all of you? So the first part at least relates with change management. When you look at this word transformation right here, transformation means change, right? And what are the responsibility of a Chief Executive Officer for change management, or what are activities involved in change management? So I think the first part is more relatable to a syllabus area, right? Some sort, right? But look at the second part, which is another 10 marks question. Prepare a letter. Now you have to prepare a letter to all employees, because you want to guide employees about the change, which will be signed by the Chief Executive Officer, explaining, again, know the letter format from the examiner answer. If you don't know it, probably you will be at this point in time when exams are just few days away. So you need to prepare a letter explaining what? The benefits of implementing the new MyoBed approach for the company and for the employees. Now, what is a MyoBed approach? I don't know. I have to read the case. When I read the case, I will come across, okay, these are the benefits. In the context of the case, I have to judge what are benefits of this approach for the company and for the employees. Now, can I know the benefits from the book? No, because this is something given in the case study. I can know the benefits of integrated reporting. I can know the benefits of mobile technology. I can know the benefits of e-marketing, because these are topics. But can I know the benefit of an approach given in the case study? No, because this approach is explained in the case study. I have to read it. I need to think about the benefits. Are you clear? Are you agree with me? So benefits of implementing the new approach, the MyoBed approach for the company and its employee. So the benefits has to come out of the case study. I cannot be prepared for it. The second, the main changes to the team structure. What sort of changes you need to make to the team structure, and what sort of changes you need to make to the behaviors below the board level. Now that below the board level means your technical management, right? Your senior managers, your Chief Executive Officer, because under the board, you need to think about which management is under the board. What sort of changes you need to make to the team structures, and what sort of changes you need to make to the behaviors of people under the board, which the new MyoBed approach will require. Now, again, when I read the MyoBed approach, I will get to know that what sort of a behavioral change is required for the MyoBed approach, or what sort of a structural change is required for a MyoBed approach. But can I be prepared to tackle this question without reading the case study? Does it relate with any syllabus area, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H? Tell me. So the entire 10 marks answer is to be searched. So are you prepared for this challenge? And I believe this is easier, because if something is case given, then it's easier for every student to read the case and find the answer. Right? Alana, education, communication, training, negotiations is the answer for A part, right? Where you need to guide to the chief executive officer what are her responsibilities and what sort of activities will she undertake to bring the transformation. So that is the answer for 1A. But what sort of structural changes are needed with MyoBed approach? Again, when till the time I don't read the MyoBed approach, I will not be having an idea about the structural changes needed. I hope you're clear with that, right? Now tell me, all of you, when you go to the exam hall for June 22 exams, quite possible 50% of the paper, or more than 50% of the paper, is journal, like the examples you're coming across here. And your preparation from the class lectures, reading the book, reading the article is of no use. And you have to be prepared for this. And I believe if something comes from case like MyoBed approach, as if I am a student in your place, I will like it, because I know, okay, leave aside the books, leave aside the article, let's read the case and find the answer. Is that clear to all of you? Do you find a question, a journal question from the case easier than a case specific, than a book specific topic? Agree or disagree? So you need to understand that a significant percentage can be journal paper. And this is a common feedback I get from students, and you must be getting from your seniors as well, who have passed SBL, that SBL is very journal paper. But journal means it's a case-oriented paper. Everything has to be extracted out of the case study. So conclude. Sometime when you're reading a requirement in SBL, you immediately pick, oh, this is from a topic, customer database. Oh, this is from a topic, change management. But sometimes you're reading a case and you say, oh, which topic? Now, at that point in time, leave the topic, stop thinking about the topic, stop thinking about the model, just see what the examiner is asking, read the case and find the answer. Are you clear with this, all of you? So are you prepared for the challenges of finding something which is not in syllabus area A, B, C, D, E, F, but something that relates with the strategic business leader taking judgments, taking decision? A strategic business leader cannot be prepared, right, for everything. A good strategic business leader is the one who takes decisions in emergency situations, in dramatic situations, in abnormal situations, right? For a strategic business leader, nothing is smooth. So if you are a strategic business leader, any day when you're working in the organization, something unusual can come in front of you for which you are not prepared, and you have to take a decision at that point in time, what is best? And that's exactly the SBL paper. So even though these are regular areas in front of your screen, but you should be prepared for areas which are not relatable to any syllabus area. And I've just given you examples, a few of them, and I hope you're sound with those examples, that so many times a question might ask you something which is not relatable to a case, to a specific syllabus area. We did discuss the benefits. You should be knowing benefits of lots of syllabus areas. Knowing the model isn't the best answer. We just discussed about that. So a lot of time the student wastes time thinking about a model when model is not relevant even. There might be a question which doesn't require a model, but students are so obsessed. They say, oh, what is the sense of doing an answer without a model? If you are that sort of a student, You might be in a very difficult situation in the upcoming exams because not necessarily every question requires an application of a model. There are so many requirements which can be solved without model. And even if there is an application of a model and the student cannot find it, rather he or she just link the answer with a case study, that's a fine answer. So examiner will not penalize you that if you have not used a model, rather you've given a correct answer. So without model, even the answer can be correct, just as I've guided you with examples a few minutes ago. Okay, moving on. Examiner in each sitting do ask something in the paper which does not relate to a specific syllabus requirement, rather just based on case reading and extracting answer. Intelligence is the key to success in SBL. Have you got examples of that? Tell me. Have I given you examples of this? This is the summary of what we did in the last 10 minutes. Intelligence is the key. So taking decisions in 4 hours, taking the right judgments in 4 hours is the key to success in SBL paper. So examiner might ask you something which is not relatable to models, theories, syllabus area A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, but it relates with your intelligence and case study. And any student who survives this will be successful. And any student who comes under panic, stress, depression, demotivation, and you say, oh, I could not understand this. Perhaps you're going towards failure. Next, the Dr. Dinu 100 series document, which I shared with you in the Google Drive on the day one, I hope you all have that, is a best revision document few days before exams, even benefits, even advantages, even challenges. I think Dr. Dinu has covered the crux of every topic. How many of you are on Dr. Dinu series document? How many of you are utilizing it every day? Can you confirm that? Is anyone spending time on it, utilizing it? Because I think that's the best summary of taking holistic control of SBL, of taking command on SBL, because I did recommend it some pages to be read. And those pages are wonderful summary of your SBL paper. Okay, okay, almost every student is saying they are utilizing. So at least my message has been disseminated and my message has been reinforced among all of you, which is wonderful. So one source at this point, when your exams are just few days away, is not books, is Dr. Dinu 100 series and the 12 articles I recommended, right? That is the knowledge. So Dr. Dinu 100 series and the 12 articles. I hope you all know that. The 12 articles covered in the previous days of the webinar is extremely important at this point in time. And you're just going over past papers, just like we did in the session today, that you open a past paper, read a requirement and think, do I know this requirement? I think reading the requirements, breaking the requirements, understanding the requirements, thinking which model is to be applied here, or thinking which syllabus area it relates with, or thinking, is it a journal question relatable to the case? I think if you can do that in the next few days, will give you a lot of confidence. Agree, disagree? If you can just study the past papers, if you can just study the task, And if you think there is something case specific, like the MyoBed approach, solve that answer. If you think something has come out of the syllabus areas, solve that answer so that you get connected with the case study and you start building up your intelligence few days before your exam paper. So will you just read through the past papers, all of you? Will you just read through the past papers as I was just reading short time ago? Just open a past paper, read the requirements and think, okay, which model, which theory, out of the syllabus area, in the syllabus area, in the case, out of the case. Can you do such sort of analysis? Will that be good for you? So I think at this point in time, you can solve past papers. Suppose there is a requirement you're reading at home and you believe, oh, this is a very challenging requirement, solve that. But when you read a requirement and you think, okay, I know how to write an answer and I know what is the answer, leave that. So in 100 marks paper, you might be solving 50% of the paper at home, right? The mock exam, which is published by ACCA on the portal, you have to do it in full, right? So once you understand what I have just guided you today, I think on Sunday, you should do your mock exam, which is uploaded by ACCA on the portal, the practice platform. So you do that. And you do that in the same way as I've guided you today. Try to identify the journal topics, try to identify the specific topics, try to read the requirement, break the requirement, professional marks, technical marks, and you will be in a far better position. So do the mock exercise on Sunday and do it in the way as guided in the webinar. So to get the maximum benefit ahead of your exam papers. Okay, moving on. Ignoring reading examiner articles can be regretful. I did demonstrated that when we were looking in the December 21 paper, customer segmentation, and everything asked for in the customer segmentation question was from the examiner article. And that is the reason I recommended you all to read the 12 articles, because I cannot expect that my students come into a situation in the exam hall when they regret themselves. So ignorance can be risky, right? So please ensure that you have read the 12 articles which I did recommended you. How many of you have gone with all the 12 articles so far, or like 7 to 8 of them? Just confirm that. Yeah, you can't regret later, right? No one can regret that. Okay, that's very good. Alana is saying you did 10, around 10, which is good. I read 6 from the recommended. So you 6 more to go, right? So you're on the good track, Vasi. Good. So at least the good thing, which at least is motivating me as a tutor, is that you're listening to me, which is wonderful, because a lot of time the student don't listen to a tutor and they just do what they want to do. But currently what I'm looking around here is that you're listening to me, which is wonderful. Okay, that's great. That's great, Vasi. So you are on the right track. It's wonderful. Okay, moving on. Few of the last steps. Case specific answer is the key. Grab the success. If you want to grab success, if you want to get more than 50 marks in SBL, the success lies in case specific answer. And that's been the critical success factor of this webinar. And that's been the unique selling point of this webinar, which I'm selling since the day one of the webinar, that try to link your answer to the case study as much as possible. So the more you link Optima in the case study, the more you link Dulce in the case study, the more you link the TT for you in the case study, the more you link Smartware in the case study, in your answer, sorry, you will produce a good answer. So if the organization given in the case study, the environment of the organization in the environment of the organization given in the case study, or the challenges, the issues, the problems, the press release, the negative media criticism given in the case study is not utilized in your answer, and your answer is 75%, 80% generic, and only 10 to 15% linked with the case study, you're heading towards failure. But your 80 to 85% answer is linked with the situations, the environment, the challenges, the obstacles, the story of the case study, and only 10% of the answer is like generic. You are grabbing the success in SBL. So I hope this message has gone to all of you over the last 4 days. This message has been reinforced to all of you in the last 4 days. Case specific answer. Try to find and develop a point from a case study. Even if you're writing a benefit, advantage, drawback, link that to the case study. Are you on it, all of you? Okay, moving on. This is what we did, I think, on the day one or somewhere. But again, I need a reinforcement, because a lot of time the student are very confused about the length of the answer. Now, I was very clear about the length of the answer, because if you have read the article, which is in the day one of the Google Drive, 10 things to learn from September 18 exams. That was the first exam sitting, right? And the examining team mentioned in that article 10 things to learn from September 18 exam. And repeatedly, the examining team has mentioned that in the examiner report, that the maximum length of a point or the maximum length of a paragraph in SBL, which fetch 2 marks, is maximum 4 sentences long. So in like 4 sentences, you develop the point, maximum. But if the examiner is saying, like if sometime you find examiner saying, communicate concisely, you need to demonstrate the communication skill in communicating concisely to the board. Now, when you're concisely communicating to the board, you can drop the length of a paragraph to like 2 sentences or max 3 sentences. So there is a reduction in the content you are writing. So what is the length of one paragraph? And again, sentence means where you put a full stop, just like you see the screen in front of you. My full stop is coming right here. So that is 1 sentence. So sometimes the sentence is a bit longer because you put a full stop very later. But wherever you put a full stop becomes 1 sentence. Now look at this bullets in front of your screen for a reinforcement. For the strategic professional exams, it is not always possible to publish suggested answers, which comprehensively cover all the points. See, examiner is telling this. Examiner is saying, even when the examining team writes an answer, that answer cannot include everything. Credit will be given to candidates for the points not included in the suggested answer, but which nevertheless are relevant to the requirement. So examiner answer is not the best idealization. And you say, okay, whatever examiner has written, my answer should 100% match the examiner answer. Never, never, never. Because examiner is saying even in the examiner answer, there might be many points which are ignored and it's not possible to write every point. But if a student writes a point which is not in the examiner answer, and that's well justified in the context of the case because case specific answer holds the key to success, you will be rewarded for that. Number 1, I hope that motivates you. Number 2, motivation. In addition, in this integrated case study exam, candidates may reintroduce a point made in other questions or parts of question as long they are made in specific context. Suppose there was a point in the case study which you utilized when you were answering the task 1A. But later, when you were in the task 4B, you reutilize the point in a different manner. So there was one point, suppose there is a point about myobed approach, but you did utilize the point about the myobed approach when you were doing the task relating to the myobed approach as we discussed today. But the point relating to the myobed approach, which you have already utilized in the answer of the myobed approach, later in another requirement, you think that this point needs to be addressed again in a different context. So you can reintroduce the points back again in your answer in a different context or in a different perspective. Is that clear to all of you? Because it's an integrated case study, right? It's an integrated case study. So one point can have different perspective. So you might be looking at one point from a myobed approach, or you can be looking at the same point from a technological approach. There can be different perspective of looking at one point, right? So examiner is saying you can reintroduce the points. Next, the suggested answer presented in the model answer inevitably give much more detail than would be expected from most student under exam condition. This is the best line I have always liked from examiner answer, that the answers are lengthier than the one expected from the student because examiner himself guide that the maximum length of one paragraph is 3 to 4 sentences long. So if I'm writing 3 benefits for 6 marks, the maximum length of my answer would be like 12 sentences, 10 sentences, and I wrap up my answer for 3 benefits. But when you look at the examiner 3 benefits, it might be 20, 25 sentences long. I'm not expected to write that. I hope this is a reinforcement day 5, where points discussed previously are being reinforced just to ensure that if you have forgotten them, that comes back to your mind. So stop idealizing the examiner answer, sit down with the past paper, open a past paper, study the past paper, see what you know, what you don't know. If you don't know anything from the past paper, solve it. If there is something If there is something journalized asked in the past paper from September 18 to December 21, solve it. So spend as much time as possible with the past paper, careful analysis of the past paper, not just spending time idealizing the examiner answer. You can learn the formats from the examiner answer. That's wonderfully good. How you start, how you end. I've been reinforcing that in the previous days. So that's how things have to go down with the examiner viewpoint. Grab the professional marks as guided in the webinar previous days. How many? I believe you should aim for 15 out of 20. Should. And I believe you can do it. Examiner will tell you how to demonstrate a skill. I hope you're all clear on that. I hope you will all read the line, professional skill marks are available for demonstrating commercial acumen. And then the examiner will tell you how to demonstrate commercial acumen. And if you pick that out and you demonstrate the commercial acumen in the way the examiner likes it to be demonstrated, along with the journal professionalism of using the right format, using headings, using short paragraphs, and avoiding repetition, and demonstrating commercial acumen in the way examiner likes it, you are grabbing most of your professional marks. I hope you're clear on that, because this has been addressed quite a number of times in the previous days of the webinar. I hope you agree. So are you all clear on what professional marks are? What is the breakup of the professional marks? What is the utilization of the professional marks? Are you all sound and clear on this? Because that's extremely important, right? So I was very clear in the breakdown of the professional marks, right? I was very clear on how to get them, and learning the definitions of the skills is useless, because examiner will tell you professional skill marks are available for demonstrating skepticism, and then the examiner will tell you how to demonstrate it. Examiner will tell you professional skill marks are available for demonstrating the evaluation skill, and then the examiner will tell you how to evaluate. I hope you know what to demonstrate and how to demonstrate from my webinar. I hope you are doing that at home. How many of you are doing that, reading the demonstration line and finding how to demonstrate and link that to case study? How many of you are finding that demonstration line reading far better, far easier now? How many feel better with professional marks after this webinar? And you're finding that reading of the demonstration line very effective? Okay, thank you so much. The students replying with, okay, that's great, that's great. Thank you so much, all of you, for finding that effective, because again, the purpose of webinar is to satisfy you as stakeholders, because currently you are keep satisfied for me as a stakeholder in Menlo Metrics, and I need to assure that you do get that satisfaction level with this webinar ending today. Okay, that's great. That's great. So professional marks aim at 15, because if you're aiming at 15 professional marks, you need 50 to pass the SBL paper. And in that 50, if 15 is coming from professional marks, then the technical marks gets to 35. I'm just looking at 50, right? But if you think about like if you idealize professional marks like 5 out of 20, 6 out of 20, 7 out of 20, I think the risk of failure goes up. But with your professional marks rising in like 13, 14, 15, something like that, your chance of success is rising in SBL. So please ensure you're grabbing the professional marks as much as possible. The key to success is your investment in the first 60 minutes of your exam time in terms of reading and planning the answer. So any student who do this investment, you will get return. The key to success is your investment. Investment gives you return. The investment first 60 minutes. Now, in the first 60 minutes, if you read the task, you understand the task, you broke the task, you know how many things to write, you know what to demonstrate, you have put the task on the response options, you have read the case study, you have copied and pasted the exhibits into your requirements. I've demonstrated all that, right, on the day 3 and day 4. And in 1 hour, if your response option is ready with the task, professional marks, and the dumping of the information from the exhibits as demonstrated on day 2, day 3, day 4, you have invested rightly. And if first 1 hour is invested rightly with retention, copy pasting, the remaining 3 hours give you the return in terms of a quality answer. This is the return of your investment. But if the first 1 hour was haphazard, confused, full of stress, full of panic, not copy pasting, not annotating, just reading, and after 1 hour you say, oh, what I read. After 1 hour you say, oh, what I have to do. Imagine the situation yourself. But after 1 hour you say, oh, let's now put everything off. Let's open my word processor and let's type answer. And for the remaining 3 hours, I'm typing, copy paste, looking at the information on the screen, copy paste it, and any unleft information is deleted. So I keep deleting anything which I'm not using. And 3 hours later, you're producing the best answer. Did I demonstrated this exercise on day 2, day 3, day 4 of going with the practice platform, copy pasting, every such technique has gone to the webinar? I hope you're utilizing that, right? So the key to success is the investment in the first 60 minutes of your exam time. How many of you hold this investment as critical? How many of you hold this investment as critical? Okay, great. Thank you. One student saying, I do hold it. What about others? Some students are very lazy, right, in responding. Okay. Another student saying, I do. Okay, moving on to the last things. Final tips and techniques. Just to recap, quick. If we discussed something in the last 4 days and we missed them out, this is an opportunity to bring them back. Carefully reading the requirements, break it down as much as possible. We did discuss that. This is simply a reinforcement. I did demonstrated you how to read a requirement, how to break a requirement. There might be a comma in the requirement. There might be an and, A and D, and you break the requirement. One requirement can ask you multiple things with a comma and an and. So be sure that you're answering everything before the comma, after the comma, and before the and after the and you're breaking the marks with 2. Again, your investment in the first 60 minutes is critical. Plan the number of points to write versus the marks available. 12 marks divided by 2, 6 points. Okay, 12 marks divided by 2, 6 points. The question is on weaknesses and recommendation. Now that means 1 mark per weakness, 1 mark per recommendation, right? So 12 divided by 2 is 6. Now you know I need to write 6 weaknesses and 6 recommendations. So 6 weaknesses give you 6 marks and 6 recommendations gives you 6 marks. So that's how you go down with things. Carefully investigate the professional marks and see how the examiner want you to demonstrate the skill asked for. Again, this has gone into the webinar, just discussed shortly that investigating the professional marks, how to demonstrate professional marks, knowing the professional marks, again, holds the key for your success. Ensure you apply journal professionalism to your answer to maximize the ability to earn marks. Journal professionalism, GP, is equal to the format, headings, short paragraphs, and avoid repetition. So if you follow the definition of a journal professionalism, you will be in a far better position to write a good answer and fetch. Yes, Mitzi, if that's your right name, you should at least watch the previous webinar, December 21. If this is your first one, December 21 on my YouTube channel, and this one, June 22. I think that too would be good at this point in time. Next, your answer should be synced with the case as much as possible. I hope you all agree. The key is your investment in the first 60 minutes, and that will give you return in the later 180 minutes. Ensure you are well versed with the computer skills of using the platform and its features and commands ahead of your exam. You know how to use the features and commands, and you are technically sound on that. So these are the final tips and techniques. Now, just before I wrap up and say you the final words of success and final words of motivation, you can be connected with me anytime possible. You can email me at splkashifkamran@gmail.com, and I'll be responding to your queries as fast as possible in the next 3 days ahead of your exams. You can WhatsApp me, and again, I'll ensure that my response rate improves in the next 3 days. Again, on my Facebook page, SBL by Kashif Kamran, I'll be uploading final tips and techniques, final advices. In the next 72 hours, I'll be very much focused on social media activism, and you can be on my YouTube channel where the recordings of this webinar gets uploaded. So we discussed some very important things on the 5th and the final day, some reinforcements, the importance of grabbing the Dr. Dino 100 series, the importance of the journal things which comes in the SBL paper, apart from the specific areas which are very, very repetitive. So you need to ensure that you are sound in the areas in front of your screen. And for the journal areas, you cannot do anything. You just go to the exam hall. If you come across a journal area, face it. Read the case, find the answer. But these are the areas where you should be stronger at. Knowing the benefits, knowing the importance, knowing the challenges is very, very important. And ensuring the risk topic is taken in control, which is quite repetitive. And again, the technology area is taken in control as well, because it comes a lot of time in past papers. So please ensure you are on the sound track for it. Now, if you had a question in the webinar today, I think Vasi had a question, but that was quite lengthy, so I couldn't answer it. But I did mention Vasi to drop me a message on my WhatsApp so I can respond. I can read and respond properly, because that will take time to read that long message, and I'll be responding. So that is it then from the day 5 of the webinar. Again, the webinars are built up as an exercise to fine-tune students, to motivate students, to give them the right techniques, to give them the reinforcement. If they are off track, bring them on track. If they're doing something wrong, tell them to do something right. The purpose of the webinar is not to deliver a lecture, not to deliver a theoretical aspect. The purpose of the webinar is, again, fine-tuning, so SPL starts looking better to you. And I believe this objective has been achieved, if you agree with me, that you must have started looking at SBL a bit more different, in a bit more different manner than might be you are looking at it 5 days ago, 6 days ago when we started the webinar. And you must have found some good things which you will take from this webinar and implement them. So have you found some good things over the last 5 days of this webinar, which you believe, yes, we got something very good and we are implementing it? So I hope you have some takeaways from this webinar, right? And you have some good takeaways from this webinar, which you were not doing before. And you must have regretted if you have not watched the webinar, right? So I wish you all a very best of luck. Your exams are just a few days away from now when we are conducting the day 5 of the webinar. But I hope the next 4 days are crucial to sit down with past papers, analyzing them, just sitting down with the revision from the Dr. Dino series. And I think that is it. But you need to be focused and ensure your intelligence is active on the day of exam. You're not stressed out, because a lot of time the students study too much 24 hours before the exam. And what exactly happens that when you sit in front of a computer on the day of exam, you are like exhausted, stressed out, drowsy, sleepy, please don't do that. 24 hours before your exam, you should reduce the content of study and you should relax. You should just sit down, relax yourself, whatever makes you relax. Try to find something which relax your mind, and you are active for the day of exam. So I think if you have exams on Tuesday, Monday, you should not study. You should just plan to study by Sunday, and that is it. But because if you get yourself exhausted, you will not be delivering the best. I hope you agree with me. A lot of time I've seen students who are so exhausted that even though they're well prepared, they collapse on the day of exam. So please don't do that. So again, best of luck for your upcoming exams, and my prayers, my well wishes are all with you, and I will be looking forward for the feedback of your June 22 exams on Tuesday, right? When you come out of the exam hall and share the feedback, what comes in the paper and what not, and how well handled the paper was. So best of luck, and keep in touch, and I will be in touch with you as well. Best wishes. My prayers are with you all. Study effectively, stay focused, be determined, and that is it. So the webinar to success for SBL June 22 exams is getting over. I'm Kashif Kamran, your tutor, signing off, and goodbye and Allah Hafiz. Thank you so very much, all of you, for the admirations, and thank you so very much for participating in this live webinar. Take care, Allah Hafiz, and goodbye.